The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (Nnpc), the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board (NCDMB), Brass Fertilizer and Petrochemical Company Limited, and DSV Engineering have signed two key agreements for the construction of 10,000 tons per day methanol plant and the 500 million standard cubic feet per day gas processing plant in Odiama, Brass, Bayelsa State. Nnpc Chief Operating Officer Gas and Power, who is also board chairman, signed for the corporation, while the Executive Secretary of NCDMB Engineer Cindy Kesiye Wabote signed for the board, and the Managing Director of VFPCL Chief Ben Okoye signed for their companies respectively at the ceremony, which held at the board's liaison office in Abuja. Engineer Usman expressed delight that the project was in sync with President Muhammadu Buhari's recent declaration of a decade of gas and would help to correct the current anomaly whereby 100% of the nation's methanol needs are imported.
With gas, we can produce food, which has been demonstrated through the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative. And now we are almost at a level of self-sufficiency in rice production. So which means I can comfortably say that gas will lead us to food sustainability.
In his remarks, the Executive Secretary of NCDMB, Engineer Simbi Wabote, highlighted the need for indigenous institutions and companies to initiate projects that would create in-country value and employment opportunities for young Nigerians. He insisted that the Nigerian oil and gas industry cannot continue to wait for international operating oil and gas companies to introduce projects.
Every country is looking inward as to create employment opportunity for its people. And if we continue to sit back and wait for the international companies to come and invest to create that opportunity, it will elude us. It is time as a country we begin to create the opportunities ourselves internally.
The Managing Director of VFPCL, Chief Ben Okoye, stated that methanol can be used to produce 67 items that are used in households every day. He stated that the company had acquired 600 hectares of land and aspires to attract other entities to the brass-free zone. He said the project will become the biggest methanol plant in sub-Saharan Africa.
This will put us in the landmark in the history of in the petrochemical market. I think we should be about number 5 in the world in terms of capacity, which is a major stepping stone. I want also to thank the management of Nnpc for believing in this project and guiding us in the past 2-3 years to get here.
Hello, glad you could join us on the feedback segment of the program. My name is Abigail Ojobo. In the recent past, several lives and property have been lost due to motorists traveling with premium motor spirit (PMS), otherwise known as petrol, in the boots of their vehicles, and others hoard the products in their homes in anticipation of scarcity, especially during festive periods. On this episode of the program, we bring to you views on why motorists and Nigerians from all walks of life should not contemplate storing petrol in their boots and in their houses.
Do not buy fuel and keep in jerrycans and keep at the back of your boot while you are in a journey or even moving around in the town. So to avoid that, you should avoid buying the fuel and keeping them in jerrycans in your own home. It is not safe. Do not buy and keep, because it can explode, it can cause fire, and it can cause damage and burn your homes or even burn your vehicles. So it is not safe.
You will encounter so many gallops as you move. And then now the fuel can come out from the mouth of the jerry can. It will drop on the floor of the boot. Then gradually, if there is a hole, it will get to the exhaust pipe. And the exhaust pipe is very hot. Then when this fuel now drop on it, then that is all. There will be fire immediately.
You can see even the fume of a generator It kills a lot of people. Not to talk of keeping the whole fuel at home. Putting fuel at home or keeping it in the boot is very dangerous. So I advise any other person, any person that has that intention of keeping fuel at home for any reason, to please avoid it totally for the safety of himself and other commuters.
This thing called fuel, it is very, very volatile. The flash point, it is very low. Any little spark close to it, it ignites. And combustible materials makes it even more faster, like the car. Where once you put those things enclosed and you are driving with them, you notice that you are heating up the environment already. Where once there's a little spark, of course it will ignite, and that will result into, destructions of property, destructions of life.
So the risk of buying fuel, putting into your car, and extra, or you take it home, the risk is very, very high. It costs life and lost a lot of things, and when there is accident, the fire will cut out from there, and a lot of things will happen. So personally, me, I don't buy fuel in the keg and keep in my car.
If fire outbreak occur, the vehicle and the people inside the vehicle are not safe. So it's not actually good, really.
We all know the implication of fuel and the havoc it can cause. Therefore, the best thing for anybody is to avoid putting fuel when traveling, because if any emergency happens, you cannot save yourself and you cannot save others. Therefore, the best thing is to avoid it.
We stop panic buying. Sometimes that's even the problem. And then we try to store less of PMS as possible. It's very combustible, it's dangerous. We just buy the one we use, and then that's how it is. In most countries, in better climes, that's how it is.
It's not advisable to keep petrol inside boots or in a residential apartment. Buy your petrol, fill your tank, and if you want another one, come back with your tank, with your vehicle, and fill it, and off you go. But to save it somewhere outside filling station, it is not correct.
To carry fuel for boot or for house is very dangerous. Of course, when you carry fuel for boot, they travel. Anything can happen on the way. A little spark can cause a lot of disaster. So it not be only you go, even affect. It can affect the people by your side. It can affect other innocent people. So to carry fuel inside boot, travel, now dangerous thing. In fact, fuel there everywhere now. There's no need, say maybe they carry fuel, go anywhere.
Prevention, they say, is better than cure. Petrol is a highly inflammable product. Therefore, all motorists and Nigerians in general are cautioned against storing petrol in their booths and in their houses in order to avoid fire outbreak, which can lead to premature death, burns, and unnecessary carnages. The much time will permit us to bring your way today. Stay tuned for the other segments of the program.
Hello, glad to have you join us again on yet another informative segment of the program. My name is Faith Ayuba. Did you know that the Petroleum Industry Bill, PIB, started its journey 21 years ago under the auspices of the Oil and Gas Implementation Committee, OGIC? The PIB, tagged Petroleum Industry Bill 2020, has been submitted to the National Assembly as an executive bill for legislative action. Did you know that the bill is packaged into 5 chapters and spread across 319 sections? The PIB 2020 seeks for the creation of 3 new agencies, development of host communities, and stimulation of a competitive fiscal environment. Did you also know that the passage of the bill will promote inflow of investment into the Nigeria's oil and gas industry? Now you know. Please stay tuned. The rest of the program continues.
Hello and welcome to Global Crude Oil Outlook. Oil futures stabilize as it seems the worst of the price correction is now over, with the oil market now hovering around a new equilibrium and investors feeling cautiously bullish. Brent crude futures was down 84 cents and settled at $64.14 per barrel, good for its third consecutive close above $64 per barrel. While the United States West Texas Intermediate WTI crude futures lost $1.01 and closed at $60.55 per barrel, which was also its third close in a row above $60 per barrel. The market underwent two large sell-offs on March 18 and March 23, with prices dropping by more than $7 per barrel before being sent on a roller coaster ride. Meanwhile, the Market Intelligence Department of Nnpc's London office reported that Saudi Arabia has advocated a cautious approach to market management in recent months, persuading the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries OPEC alliance to slow down the schedule for unwinding the huge production cuts it implemented in May of last year. The Joint Technical Committee, JTC, calculated that the alliance achieved 113% compliance with its agreed production cut in February, a figure which largely reflects the big additional voluntary cut that the Saudis made. But the report prepared by the JTC also indicated that members of the alliance had exceeded their agreed production limits by an average of 302,000 barrels per day over the 10-month period from May to February, a slight improvement over the May to January average of around 310,000 barrels per day. And that's it on this segment of the program. I am Owigo Okolo.
That's the package, the much that time and space can allow us to bring to you. Expectedly, the takeaway is big and enduring, and it's best encapsulated in a salient statement about the matter of the moment. It's time for Nigeria to fly on the wings of gas. It's a new week. Make the most of it. Bye.